My name is Alice Fournier, and I'm CIO for the Americas at ISS Guggenheimer.
So to be a CIO for a big food service company, what does that entail? I imagine you have lots of things on your plate.
I do. It's a full plate. I'm really very lucky to have the oversight of both our internal technology as well as our customer facing technology. So I oversee everything that makes the business run. So if you think about people systems, financial systems, all of the bits and pieces that we need to run our organizations, as well as, of course, ensuring that all the technology that enables our customers' experiences to run is within my oversight. So on the food side, in the corporate catering world, it's everything from credit card, point of sale, some of the new innovations that we're bringing. So it's a full plate, but it's a wonderful, wonderful plate. And I'm very, very grateful to be given the gift of leading the team there.
Okay, so for those who don't, because this is not a Coca-Cola, that's nothing against it, but like in terms of the household names,
Yeah.
tell people what your company does.
Yeah. So ISS is actually, I often say, right, it's one of the largest companies that you've never heard of. So we are originally a Danish company, um, upwards of 350,000 employees. So really, really significant business. And we are really focused on something phenomenal, which is ensuring that workplaces are great, which is what everybody's looking for right now as we bring people back into the office. So what does that mean? It's really three things. We have a large janitorial workforce, so ensuring that everything is clean, that the places that people go to work in, whether it's airports or manufacturing plants or offices, clean, shiny. Secondarily, we have a technical services service line, which is around ensuring that everything that the built environment has also works. So changing light bulbs, making sure that HVAC systems, all that good stuff. And then last but not least, and of course, why we're here today particularly, is our food business. So we also know that a great office experience, a great work experience requires great food. And we do that through our brand Guggenheimer, which is a phenomenal food obsessed brand that we have a lot of fun with in the US business particularly.
I so much want to ask you, how many ISS employees does it take to change a light bulb? There's got
Not
to
too
be a
many,
joke there.
hopefully.
Not too many, yes. Hopefully just
Yeah,
one. But
hopefully.
so so if I'm working at a Google or another big company where there's a cafeteria, that's oftentimes managed by you. You guys are producing the food. Talk about
Correct.
that.
Yeah, so without going into any right specific clients, but yes, so we what we do is that we procure the food, we produce it, we create the great cafe experience that our employees come to love and enjoy, and our clients' employees come to love and enjoy. So we really run the whole gamut. We also have a lot of workplace experience service. So beyond just taking your food, paying for it, and enjoying it, what does it take to make a cafe be a great place to be? So in some cases, seatings. And so we go a little bit outside the realm of just the food, but the food is what we start and end with. And of course, our great people. We have just phenomenal people who are true hospitality like folks. So we manage the end to end, and again, including from my perspective, right, including everything that goes around paying for the food. And making sure that all the information travels. So from the moment we create a new recipe all the way till the moment you can buy it and enjoy it, there's technology all along the way, and that's where I come in.
There's a couple big macro trends that I think have been changing experiences in cafeterias and also restaurants to a certain degree. One is the way in which you can pay, and then another one is around things like personalization and kind of optimizing around specific dietary trends. Let's talk about the first one first, the payment. If you look at companies like Amazon, at food retail places, they've been creating just walkout type of technologies.
Yeah.
It's a different experience when you're, you have a security card, you get into a building, then you work at a cafeteria, or you eat in a cafeteria. But have you been or innovating around the pick up and get your food and just go around things like maybe just pick up and go? Talk about that.
Yeah, so that's a complete passion point for me. So I actually started in on the CPG world in e-commerce when e-commerce was something, and I like to tell that because it just sounds silly right now, but back then it was a real thing, right? Back then when I began in e-commerce, but was before it was really again a thing in the broader industry, people used to make fun of it, right? They would say, "Why would anyone?" And I kept a few emails actually, because I profoundly believed in it. But people would say, "Why would anyone, want to order whatever product, right? Any CPG product?" while sitting on their couch at home when you can actually get in your car and drive and go get it. And it just sounded so ridiculous to a lot of people back then. And now, of course, you look at our world and you think, why would I? When I can sit on my couch and order whatever I need and it'll show up at my door. So the way we procure products and food particularly has been a point of just love and interest for myself. And what I've been saying is that, of course, when we are a consumer, so when I use Uber Eats, any of the platforms outside in the world, I don't lose that. When I walk in the office, I have a similar expectation that I can order on my phone, that I can pay with my phone, pay with apps. And we've been absolutely very, very, very dedicated to innovating on the way we pay, the way we order, where we can pick up the food. So everything around that omni-channel experience is something that we're very actively engaged in. Just Walk Out is a great example of how people are increasingly asking us questions. How do these experiences translate in the office? Again, similarly, lots around just app pre-order, right? Just the idea that we're now so used to but that had not entered the office space that much yet. But I pre-order and then I want to know when it's ready, right? So just that simple notification that okay, now I can walk out of my meeting, go get my food, bring it back. Fully involved, fully dedicated to that. But I would say though that the balance that's actually interesting in the corporate catering world is that it's not all about technology because the human experience is very, very, very important in that space, right? These are people. I mean, if I think about our placemakers, our frontline teams, right? Our chefs, our culinaries, just the people around the cafe. We want that touch point, and our customers on site want that touch point. So to me, the sweet spot here is making sure that you offer all the capabilities that we've come to expect as a consumer without losing the human touch, where that may be a bit different when you're thinking about, right, QSR. And I think this is where the real magic happens, is that interaction.
So you talked about the human touch there. I know that some of the things you must be thinking about, and others like you, is increasingly using or potentially using automation, even robotics, to create food more quickly or more efficiently, maybe have some cost savings. What are you thinking about there? Do you have some customers, or do you guys experimenting with robotics in the back of house, front of house?
Um, so robotics process automation, right? So not actual robots, but in my world, that probably takes precedence right now over the robotics cooking and but robotics where you can automate processes, absolutely. Less so on the food delivery. I mean, it is out there. We've been a little bit less involved in, I see a lot of the robots delivering. I mean, you start to see it. There are good use cases that we're dabbling with. But I would say primarily for me, where, again, in the two kinds of robotics, right? But the RPA side of the world, which is really the process automation, that's where I'm particularly focused, because I find that technology has to be the enabler of the human experience. So less so on right now on robots delivering. I do see some cool stuff on higher education, for instance. You see them quite a bit. We're less focused on that, more on automating processes and automating manual work to give our people more time bring the human touch, to spend less time in front of their computers and more time in front of people.
What about new ways to allow people to pick up and go, such as these kind of automated fridges? I've
Yeah.
seen essentially the vending machine go from, like, it used to be 20 years ago, just Funyuns and Doritos and Coca-Cola, to now you can get like Farmer's Fridge out of Chicago. Like,
Yeah.
you can get fresh food in some of these machines.
Yeah.
And there's great ways to authenticate and pay for these. Are you guys implementing any of those in
Absolutely.
your facilities? Okay.
Oh yeah. And I think, and you can still get Funyuns.
Good, because I like
Yeah.
Funyuns, by the way.
um, but I really, really love what's happening in that space. There's a great use case that we have in right in Boston, actually. So companies that enable, right, half the fridge that's room temperature, the other half that's cold. So all these mixes. So because I think people, again, wanting to enable and support all the different models, people are in a rush, but being in a rush shouldn't equate having to eat something that may be good while watching TV, but that you don't want for lunch. So we are very, very active in that space. There is phenomenal vending. I love that it's very easy, right? Use your phone, one tap. There's great AI usually built behind those, or some amount of recognition or image recognition, which makes it really easy for us to replenish. So I think that space is definitely a space that's interesting to see. And similarly, and probably tied a little bit to your question around robotics, one of the areas that the team is certainly starting to get focused on is how do you connect micro markets, vending. So we have a lot of customers who, right, invested in real estate prior to COVID, now are dealing with that. Everybody's in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, it's empty Monday, Fridays, but you still have people coming in. So you have floors and areas, market areas that are left more empty. And so I think that there is something very interesting there. And I'm seeing good technology, but nothing yet that I've gone, wow, this is super, to help maintain these areas that now are very much living within a hybrid world. So that's an area, and I think it's somewhere around that intersection of vending and robotics. So if anybody out there is doing some great stuff, I want to hear about it. But I think that's very interesting space to watch.
Finishing up on my question about the two macro trends, I wanted to circle back to personalization. I think it's somewhat tied to the point of purchase, because you, at some level, you might understand who the person is. They may have an app, or they have they're kind of an identification, an identity within your food purchase systems at a given employer. How are you working with personalization to make food choices more optimized around an individual that is working in a certain environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are deploying an app, and I think personalization is especially critical when it comes to allergens, right? We want to be sure that we're very, of course, on top of making sure that we declare allergens well, and that we help people who have allergies, yes, allergies, to have a quick view into which products they can and cannot consume. So to me, the immediate power of the app is that you build your profile, and then some of the apps that we leverage will actually either completely remove the products that you can't consume if you have given allergies, or they'll show up a notification if you're about to select, or you've selected a product that has an allergy that you've declared. So to me, that's the starting point. There's also, right, within the apps, because what you're seeing is a lot of what was traditionally on the e-commerce side with more recommendation type of systems, the ability to market. So increasingly, corporate catering technology also has the ability to, create discounts, marketing campaigns. And through that, you can funnel people through better choices, helping them recognize. But again, thinking about the future, right? Boy, that's a space that's interesting. I think there's so much to be done in the combination of the data sets that are already on our phone, right? I know I know which day I've walked the stairs instead of taking the elevator. So is that the day that if there was brilliant technology there to nudge me and say, hey, maybe today you're allowed that extra ice cream bar because you've taken your
All,
steps.
all I have to do is take the stairs to get ice cream. That's fantastic. No one told me that, by the way.
Yeah, that's how I do it. I walk the stairs, I can eat the ice cream. But I think there is more, right? Because the office environment to me, right, is such an important place. Even if we've stepped away from it in a hybrid world, somehow I think having left it, now coming back to it makes it even more important. So those 2, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever an organization has chosen, those days are super, super critical. And are days that we have to create an experience that's exceptional, that people want to come
Yeah.
back to. And so I'm hoping that more will be done. And again, that's an area we are exploring actively, is how do I leverage data sets, individual data sets, and then target better choices. And again, I think the office setting can be the place for that, for multiplicity of reasons.
You mentioned these micromarts as one place in which you're seeing AI creep into the cafeteria. Talk about how you're thinking about AI and some of the early ways you're using it, and then maybe we could talk about maybe looking forward in the future.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot out there on menu management, recipe creation. There's good programs out there. We actually are, waste management, huge area for AI. So we are, of course, sustainability is at the core of everything we do. And one of the key deployments across our base is, of course, with the different waste management system, where when the kitchen, but actually that's an interesting change, because it used to be only a back office, right? Only the kitchen would track the waste, but increasingly clients, which I love, clients have pushed us to say, why don't we have that in the front, right? For individuals, for their employees to see what they're getting rid of, right? What they're wasting. And that's just so big, because go ahead.
Does that mean like the I think Winnow or some of these other systems that will monitor what you're putting into the waste bin or the compost bin? You're putting that in the cafeteria dining space, and so Mike, I keep throwing away my salads. I might get a report saying, Mike, stop ordering salad.
Well, no, it won't call you by name. Not yet.
Mike, you didn't walk the stairs this week. Why did you get the ice cream?
Exactly. You shouldn't have. Yeah. But that one you didn't get rid of. But yeah, but no, so not tied to an individual, but yes, okay. Now it's actually our clients brought us there to say, hey, we need to enable people to see what they're wasting. And particularly in free food programs, right, where there's an abundance. And it's not about losing the abundance, because that's important, that's core, but it is about more of a, maybe tomorrow, if I keep getting rid of my salad, maybe tomorrow I should think a little bit differently about how much salad I take, or some other choice. And so yes, increasingly to see that, but also to measure, because then you can report to employees, and then it becomes, right, a group effort to say, hey, how can we waste less, still enjoy the great food, still enjoy the abundance, waste a little bit less. So yeah, that's increasingly what we're seeing happen, and it's pretty powerful stuff, right? Is
there a potential for employees though to feel creeped out? And this isn't against you or another cafeteria, but if I see like a camera watching what I'm throwing out, I might think, why is my employer monitoring my food, right?
Well, again, this is part of the new questions. It's a new question to pose, right? And I think that the clients who are working with us to go in that direction feel strongly enough that, right, the camera doesn't see you as an individual. It looks at the garbage can and what comes in there. In the receptacle, doesn't know it's you or anybody else. Okay. I don't think, so you wouldn't have a face associated right? It's really just what's put in the receptacle. So I think there's enough care around privacy and plenty of sensitivity around that. But I think that the companies who want to know more are doing so with really important intentions or intent, which is, hey, we have big sustainability metrics. Some of it sits within food waste as well.
Yeah, it's just this balance of increased optimization around doing things like wasting less resources, helping people be more efficient in going to the cafeteria and leaving,
Yeah.
balancing that with concerns about privacy, because there might be a lot of cameras and visual recognition to power all that. So I think that's, yeah, like you said, it's one of the questions I think you guys and also the employer has to balance.
Yeah, and it's a constant, and with AI overall, and I was just having a different conversation on a similar topic this morning. There are new questions. There are just new questions that we need to address as we bring all kinds of new capabilities, particularly when it comes around personalization. I mean, we are working with this phenomenal tool for recruitment, and it leverages some solid AI, and it brings new question for us all to think about, which is how do we reap the benefits of these technologies and be deeply dedicated to privacy, to security, to confidentiality. So it's a new world for sure. There's no question about it.
With regards to AI, it seems like every vertical has the potential to be disrupted or, is being disrupted. It seems like every vertical, whether it's food or transportation, is bringing on expertise to deal with it. And big CPGs I've seen do a lot in the past 12 months. Is this something where you guys have beefed up your internal expertise? So you bring on people who are smart about this to help you figure out ways to better deploy it into your customer sets?
All of the above. So it is bringing new folks in who have, be it new employees with new skills, being great vendors, right? Learning about great vendors out there, but doing so in a way that is still very, very clear on the why, right? The why is as important as the who, in my view. So why we decide to bring AI in certain areas has got to be really clear, so that you don't chase the latest bells and whistles. And when you implement tools that have artificial intelligence, there's a lot of governance around the how to do it. And so the first and biggest and the question that we pose ourselves is why do we need to do that? Who are we going to work with? Do we understand their technology enough that we are confident? And we're dealing with our own data sets, with customer data sets. So security is the primary concern, and it's really not about just bringing things left and right at all. Mm-mm.
So looking 10 years into the future, you're working at ISS still, and how has AI changed your business and your client's business?
Yeah. Number one, it's a lot of, just for lack of a better word, right? Manual, call it stupid processes that have been automated. That to me is number one thing. And that we just don't have people doing things that are manual, that are low value. So to me, that's the first piece there. It's understanding that. I think that the second piece, I mean, sustainability is a great use case, right? How do we impact our food waste better through AI? I think personalization of the employee experience. There's so much great technologies out there that enables a better employee experience to go get the information you need. That I think is a really important one. Might have a few good recipes based on AI, but I don't know. I think a chef. I'm married to one, so I'm probably biased, but I don't know. I think that stays in the human touch. But there might be some additional. But I think the big world problems such as food waste, are the ones that we need to focus on leveraging AI for. And then, I think I tend to trust the young generation to bring us great ideas. I'm sure there's all kinds of things that we're not thinking about that they'll bring to us to, again, solve some of these big problems.
Great. Okay, so your chef spouse is not going to be replaced by an AI or a robot. That's good for both.
Yes.
All right, Alice, this has been a lot of fun. I will see. Looking forward to seeing you in person at the Food AI Summit to hear a little bit more about what you do.
Can't wait. Looking forward to seeing you there as well. Thank you so much.